buzzer beater had everyone on the edge of their seats.
That's how the New Orleans police were last night. Yesterday was day 5 of the great Orleans jailbreak inmate manhunt, whatever you want to call it. And we had pretty much assumed that pretty much every day they were going to catch one of the criminals. But yesterday they didn't. They arrested the maintenance man. So I just went ahead and went to bed and all that kind of stuff. But the buzzer beater last night, literally, I want to say it was like 10:30. I got a text message saying they caught one of the criminals. So is this a little buzzer beater right at the end, right toward the end, they still caught one of them. So shout out to them. Now, I also said that the sheriff needs to be in every single picture. Every time they capture somebody, she needs to be in one of these pictures. Well, she let me down yesterday. Let me show you the picture real quick. Shout out to everybody who's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. This is what I usually do on the evening show, but I just said I would jump in because technically they captured him yesterday. Okay, so shout out to Ground News. Always appreciate Ground News helping me get better at my content. Shout out to them. I think I actually have a code for that. If you all want to use Ground News, check it out. If you're a content creator or somebody that likes to do online research, Ground News is pretty dope. Okay, so they caught this guy. I think his last name is Boyd, Corey Boyd. And I'm telling you, man, the sheriff should have doggone photoshopped herself into this picture. Because I'm telling you, this is prime opportunity for her campaign. Let me pull this. Let's do this video real quick.
Escapee is back in custody tonight.
Hold on.
5th Orleans Parish Jail escapee.
If you could please drop me a green heart in the chat when you could hear. When we drop the what we got here. Good morning, Rhonda. How are you? Everybody's doing well. Hope you're doing well also, friend. All right, could you green heart me in the chat when you can hear? Because it's really low in my ears this morning. Let's try this way.
Is back in custody tonight. Authorities caught Corey Boyd about an hour ago in the 1400 block of Iberville in Tremay. The search continues for the 5 others. Good evening, I'm John Snell.
And I'm Lauren McCoy. Our Gabby Killett was there as Boyd was walked out in handcuffs. And now there's a large police presence on North Galvez Street in the St. Roch neighborhood. And that's where a source tells us that they are searching for another escapee.
Gabby Killett is live with the latest.
Again, John, Lauren, as you said, we are here in the 2200 block of North Galvez Street, where a source does tell me that they are potentially closing in on 26-year-old Lenton Van Buren. Now, let me move out the way here for a moment so you can take a close look at the scene. There's a helicopter in the sky shining a bright light. It looks like there's drones up as well. And police really just closing in on this specific house in the 2200 block of North Galvez Street. Again, Lenton Van Buren would be the 6th inmate captured if he is brought back into custody, and we're monitoring it here. Van Buren was arrested in connection with the November 2021 homicide investigation, and along with the 9 other men, escaped the Orleans Justice Center Friday when police say a maintenance worker cut off water to a cell and 10 inmates climbed through a hole behind a toilet sink unit. I'll just come back on camera and tell you that. Just stay tuned here. Hopefully we'll have more information on whether Van Buren is captured. Thank you. Gabby Killett, Fox 8 Local First.
All right, Clinton temporarily suspends her re-election campaign.
Hold on. I wasn't ready to talk about that yet. Okay. So yeah, this was about 10 o'clock last night. Dear Will Christian was real close to the bed about that time. So shout out to them. So they got the 5th one, and then of course they got the maintenance man. I'm still saying the maintenance man is not alone. So I want to know about those other people that got suspended, but that's neither here nor is that there. So this right here, this young lady in the royal blue is going to talk about how Sheriff Hutton is suspending her campaign. We talked about that last night. I think it's probably the right thing to do. It's hard to run on a campaign of making New Orleans safe when you got 6 felons running around doing whatever. So I totally get that part. Let's check this out.
Hudson has faced intense scrutiny since Friday's jailbreak, including calls for her to resign. In a press release tonight, she cites a commitment to security, accountability, and public safety as the reasons for the suspension of her campaign, saying she can't spend a moment putting politics over the public's needs. Hudson faces 3 opponents in the October election. Her statement didn't say if she plans to drop out of the race entirely.
Longtime Orleans Sheriff's Office supervisor says understaffing at the jail led to protocol violations before Friday's escape.
He and a longtime Florida prison inspector tell Stephen Stock that
Hold on, I didn't have this one ready. Oh, this is something new. This is breaking news. I didn't have this one planned. This news outlet, they just like run the stories back to back. There's like no break in between. You can't actually stop it. Okay, wait.
Longtime Orleans Sheriff.
Okay, so let's see what they say. I haven't seen this one. We're gonna see this together. Shout out to y'all. Thank you, everybody who's jumping in this morning. I wanted to go over this because technically it happened yesterday. So that's why we were discussing it. 5 down, day 5, they caught 5 guys. So today's day 6. Let's see what happens. Let's go.
Sheriff's Office supervisor says understaffing at the jail led to protocol violations before Friday's escape.
He and a longtime Florida prison inspector tell Stephen Stock that resulted in the security breakdown that allowed the missing inmates to go unnoticed for almost 8 hours.
A source who's familiar with the inner workings of the Orleans jail tells us rules and protocol require bed checks every 90 minutes to 2 hours.
I knew it.
That source also says both the sergeant and lieutenant supervisor on duty are also supposed to conduct rounds 3 times every 12-hour shift. Had that been done, our source says, jail employees would have noticed the missing inmates and the toilet pulled off the wall much sooner.
So number one, I see no security checks being done.
Gary York retired after 3 decades in Florida corrections, including a dozen years as a senior inspector for the state prison system. He investigated everything from murder and assault behind bars to jail and prison escapes.
I also want to emphasize the security checks are also the responsibility of the supervisors. So I'm going to go interview the supervisors. I'm going to say, hey, why weren't your officers doing security checks? Are you following up with your officers?
There we go.
Are you watching what they're doing, and are you training them properly to do security checks? I see some complacency. Complacency is very bad in corrections.
There is also understaffing at the Orleans jail. While Sheriff Susan Hudson has publicly said staffing levels are only at 60% right now, our source tells us the reality is worse than that. The source says protocol requires 1 deputy and 1 civilian monitor for each pod, 6 pods on each floor. That's 12 corrections employees who were supposed to be on each floor, but that didn't happen.
At the time of the incident.
Okay, I got to stop for a second. I just got to get that off my chest. We told y'all something was wrong with them men running. The men. No, this is not the same. I'm sorry. I'm off task. No, this is not the woman. The sheriff is not the woman with those ugly green glasses. That was a representative for. That's like their PR person. So no, it wasn't the sheriff. I want to give the sheriff credit. She seems to have a little bit more fashion sense than that woman that wore them really crazy green glasses. They do have a similar look, but not really. So just to speak on that, we knew this. We knew it. We knew it. We were saying something was wrong when these guys are just wandering around, just walking around the jail, yanking doors off of hinges, Hulk smashing doors. What is going on? I knew it. I'm sorry. I want to know who got suspended. I'm just going to say it again. I want to know who got suspended because they probably need more than just be suspended.
Physically on Pod 1 Delta, and the technician that was assigned to the housing unit module had actually stepped away to grab food.
Why was there no officer in that dorm? If there are cameras in that dorm, where was that person, the person watching the cameras?
The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office says it now has suspended 4 employees after the escape.
Why though?
Staffing is very low. Of course, every sheriff's office in the state's very low. It's hard to keep people at the sheriff's office.
Former Lieutenant Craig Lawson retired this February after 36.5 years at the sheriff's office. During that time, Lawson was a jail supervisor and knows the people still working there.
It's hard, always hard, but everybody just can't do the job. It's not for everybody.
Lawson defends those who continue to work at the jail, saying they're doing remarkable work. under extremely trying and abusive circumstances.
It's just that tough. And everybody can talk about on television and everything else about knocking this person, knocking that person. You don't know till you exactly going there.
Lawson says Orleans jail protocol discourages putting maximum security inmates together with minimum security inmates. Yet the 10 inmates that escaped were both. Lawson also says under protocol, high-risk inmates like 4-time convicted killer Derek Groves should have been housed on the 3rd floor, along with inmate Kendall Miles, who was recaptured in the French Quarter following the escape. Miles had previously escaped 2 other times from juvenile detention centers.
Boy, stop it.
Lawson says inmates like Groves and Miles are high risk and should be separated from others instead of in the minimum security area with pretrial inmates.
Different classification inmates is that when you have a high security risk inmate, you try to put them separately as much as possible.
But Lawson also says that in his experience, that's not always possible because of overcrowding.
If you have no place to put them, you're putting unsentenced and convicted people together because you have no place to put them.
We reached out to the sheriff requesting an interview to discuss protocols at the prison and staffing challenges. We didn't hear back. However, following the escape, the sheriff's office publicly admitted that the different classification of inmates should not have been housed together in the same pod.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. And I agree with that gentleman. Look, I don't know what it's like to be a police officer, a correction officer. I got no shade, nothing but respect for them. I am going to say, however, I notice a trend. They never hold the community responsible. It's almost like we don't expect you to, Big Mama, we don't expect you, Pastor Johnson, we don't expect you, community people, to hold your community responsible and help them make better decisions. It's almost like, well, it's a foregone conclusion that y'all gonna commit crime, so we're just gonna make the jail more secure. How about we just not go with the foregone conclusion? It just seems like everybody else is accountable except the people that are doing the crimes. It just seems to me, because I'm a civilian, so I can speak from the position of a civilian. My respect for the criminal justice system is very, very simple. I have a very simple way to support the criminal justice system. So here, let me get this full screen, big screen. All right, this is how I support the criminal justice system. And most of you probably do this as well. Come on close. It's story time with Whitaker. This is how I support the criminal justice system. I stay out of it. There you go. That's how I deal with overcrowding. That's how I deal with jail security. That's how I deal with all of those issues. I stay out of it. That's it. That's it. As best I can, by God's sovereign grace, I'm not going to go to jail. I'm going to stay out of jail. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do, with whom I'm supposed to do it, and where I'm supposed to do it. That's it. And I'm going to stay out of jail. Officer, pull me over. Here's my license, registration, and my insurance card. Officer, thank you so much. Take care. I'm not doing this stuff. So I really wish we would hear a little bit more accountability or, feet to the fire to the community again, because there was 11 guys or 10 guys that snuck out of the jail, but there's so many kids and young adults that are looking at these guys following in their footsteps. What are we doing with them before they get in here? Because once they get in here, the wheels on the bus already fell off. All right, this is my little morning rant about that. Let's go. I got 2 more little segments. I just wanted to talk about this. By the way, if you just jumped in, last night they caught another inmate. So we're on day 5 and they've caught 5. So this is technically day 6. So I didn't want to leave this one on because it happened, leave this one hanging because it happened like about 10 o'clock, 10:30 last night. And Dear Woke Christian was already dreaming. So let's bring this in and let's keep it moving. Let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
We do have to switch gears here to a bit of breaking news. This is a story that we've been following since it first broke last Friday. 10 inmates who escaped from a jail in New Orleans. Another one has been captured. I want to put this up on your screen. This is a tweet that we have there from the Louisiana State Police saying that the 5th fugitive arrested, it's an escaped inmate. Law enforcement agencies working collectively to locate the inmates who escaped from the New Orleans Parish Correctional Facility back on May 16th. They've now arrested.
All right, if somebody is proficient in Photoshop, I really want you to Photoshop Sheriff Hutton into this picture. I'm telling you, she needs to be at every one of these captures, every one of them. Please put Sheriff Hutton in this picture. That would be so funny. She needs to be in every one of these pictures. She's like, look, I'm taking responsibility. I'm up in here capturing them. I'm tasering them. I'm pepper balling them, whatever. Pepper spraying them. I'm doing everything. She better be in there. She better be a part of this thing. Let's go.
19-year-old Corey Boyd,
He's
and that's the picture
19.
that they had there of that arrest taking place.
Hold on.
Also hearing from the Attorney General there in Louisiana.
This dude is 19? Dude was arrested on dude was trying to get out for his birthday. His birthday coming up in a couple days. This dude is only 19 years old. Y'all, we need to have a real conversation. That's sad. My almost 19-year-old's about to graduate, going to college. This dude is out here committing felonies. My kid about to escape from high school. This dude trying to escape from jail. Yo, come on now. We got to have a conversation about this. What do we do to keep them off this side of the ledger? I didn't realize this dude was 19 years old. I got a 19-year-old nephew. As a matter of fact, he's a sophomore. Yo, we need to have a conversation, highly melanated people. Oh, by the way, I got the book Black Fatigue, by the way. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yo, this is wild. I didn't know he was that young.
Louisiana saying captured inmate Corey Boyd is now back in custody. He was originally incarcerated on charges of second-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, and aggravated battery. He will now face additional charges related to that escape. And so we wanted to bring you this update here on.
How old was he when he did those things? Because he's just going to turn 20 on the 26th. Yo. Yeah, we need to have a heart-to-heart, y'all. We need to have a community. We need to have a community meeting about this. That's crazy. This dude got a deletion, attempted deletion, and a battery, and he's only 19, and he's escaped prison twice. Escaped juvenile twice, and now he's escaped prison. Yo. Okay.
Live now from Fox. If you've been following this story closely, we know that Louisiana State Police have been recapturing those inmates who did escape there from the jail. Again, Corey Boyd there on your screen. He is the fifth to be caught. He was briefly spotted last Friday, hours after the jailbreak happened in the French Quarter on surveillance camera video. Boyd, though, is accused of killing Brandon Fees during a car burglary back in 2024. Wow. Boyd, though, has since been taken into custody by a task force that surrounded an apartment building there in the city. His recapture leaves 5 fugitives still on the loose just 4 days after they escaped that New Orleans jail. I want to put this up on your screen. These are some of those other inmates who are still at large at this point. This is what those New Orleans police officers have put out, again, except for Corey Boyd, who's at the bottom there on the left-hand side of your screen. The rest of these 5 are still on the loose. That includes Jermaine Donald, as well as Leo Tate, Linton Van Buren, Antoine Massey, and Derek Groves. So several of those are facing serious charges as well, including for Linton Van Buren's second-degree murder and armed robbery. He is still awaiting trial at this point. Jermaine Donald also arrested on second-degree murder charges. And so we'll continue to keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox as we learn more information and more of these inmates are taken into custody. So we also know that a bit earlier today, we did hear from the Attorney General as well, that Attorney General talking about the man that they say was a New Orleans jail maintenance worker who was arrested, now being held on a $1.1 million bond after admitting that he turned off the water to a toilet that covered a hole in a cell wall. This allowed those 10 men to squeeze through the gap of one of the largest jailbreaks there in recent U.S. history. Putting this up on your screen, that's the face of the person that has now been arrested. We do want to continue on with this. Of course, we do know that those inmates there, during that escape, escaped by yanking open a faulty cell door, moving the toilet, and then were able to exit through that hole. Graffiti on the wall included the message, "Too easy," with an arrow and an LOL pointing to that gap. Putting that up on your screen as well. We'll get back to that tweet there from the Attorney General. But that's the image that has been going viral ever since. That's the hole where those inmates were able to escape. Of course, we now know that fifth person has been arrested, 5 more still on the loose. And again, as it pertains to that other arrest of the maintenance worker, we do know that his name is Sterling Williams, and he's now being held on a bond amount at $1.1 million. Attorney General Murrow is saying that it's $100,000 for each charge that he is now facing. Saying at the bottom, if you are helping any of these escaped inmates in any way, you too will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Wanted to get that story in for you here on Live Now from Fox. We'll continue to keep you updated. If we have any other updates, any more of those inmates captured, leaving you though with this live look there in New Orleans, there in the Big Easy. We'll slide away now for a 2-minute break. We do have to.
Excellent question, Brenda. How often or how common is it for a city the size of New Orleans to have a prison in the heart of the city? We got one in downtown Atlanta. I don't know if it's that size of that, but it's it's right there. And Rice Street is not terribly far from downtown either. I mean, the infamous Rice Street. That's a good question. I don't know. That's a fantabulous question. I have to do a little bit of research into that. Like, where are the prisons inside of major cities? But it seems like it would. Oh, and by the way, would this be a prison or would this be a jail? I think they call it. They've been using both terms. I'll have to look. I'm not 100% certain. I know if it truly qualifies as a prison or is it a jail. I've heard again. Even in this clip right here, it says jailbreak. So I don't know if it's truly a jail. It sounds like it's a jail because it doesn't sound like they expected for these certain prisoners to be there that long. But that's a good question. A very nice question. Great question. Okay, so somebody else says right here, those are not prisons. It's jail. It's jail. Got you. Yes, I'm not 100% certain. But that's a fantastic. I think we need to back up. What is a jail? What is a prison? I think we need to get those definitions cleared. Is there a true definition of it? And then the one in the middle of downtown Atlanta, the one in the middle of New Orleans, what are they? Yeah, and what's a holding center, right? There's holding centers. There's a lot of different terms, a lot of different things like that. That's a good question. I don't know. But I do think it's fair to say whether they're detention centers, holding pens, timeout, jails, prisons, I don't think they really care about where they're located because I know we got one, like I said, downtown Atlanta. They got the inmates got a really good view of, used to have a really good view of Fulton County Stadium. So I don't know what's it called? Turner Stadium. I don't know if there's a good answer. So we'll have to look into that. So maybe next show, we'll make sure we have that answer. Maybe they'll catch somebody today. Who knows? Great question. Thank you, Maine Thomas. I appreciate it. I did have one more, and then we'll get out of here. They're a little. I think this is almost the same as what we've seen. A lot of good carryover, but just gives us some new insight. Let's go. Let's get rid of Jason there first of all, and now let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
As the search continues for the 6 remaining escaped inmates, law enforcement officials are relying on tips to help track them down.
So here's a look at their pictures. WDSU's Brittany Werner got an inside look at the Crime Stoppers Center and how your tips will help out.
Organizers here at Crime Stoppers said they've had to increase their dispatcher presence since those criminals escaped on Friday. And already tips have led to deputies arresting 2 of the people who escaped so far.
Crime Stoppers. We're receiving quite a few tips.
Organizers from Crime Stoppers say since Friday, they've been getting anywhere from 30 to 40 tips a day from people in the community calling in to help.
People are getting involved. They're wanting to be part of the solution. And it's wonderful because this is the other hand to what law enforcement needs, the citizens.
This is an anonymous process, so people are able to conceal their identity. Already, the tips they received have led police to arrest 2 of the escapees who've been captured, Robert Moody, who was caught in Central City, and Gary Price, who was captured Monday evening in New Orleans East.
We could not do this without the community's trust, and of course for us, without the other partnership here with law enforcement.
Maybe Metairie, Orleans.
Officials from Crime Stoppers say tips are dispatched to the Louisiana State Police, who are leading the search efforts in real time.
People need to understand when they're calling Crime Stoppers, not only are you keeping your anonymity, we're not identifying you, but our information is going to be dispatched immediately. So if it's a real-time thing and we're saying, oh, I see this person here at this address, it's going right then and there to the agencies who can dispatch individuals to check it out.
Which is why it's critical.
Okay, I'm just being silly. But remember, they got a pretty nice bounty out there. I might not need anonymity. I might need my money. How do they make sure that I get paid though? If I tell you where the guy is and you go get him, how do I get my bread? I know. I just thought about it. I'm just being silly. Let's get done. My money.
To have the public's help.
You have an opportunity to give information to help solve the issue. Incredible to speak up.
Crime Stopper organizers say that reward system is a 2-step process. If you give a tip that leads to an arrest, a portion of that money would come directly from Crime Stoppers. The rest of it would come directly from the FBI. And remember, you can remain anonymous when giving tips. Brittany Werner, WDSU News.
I know Brittany Werner's hair is on doing the most. Shout out to Brittany. Her hair is,
Brittany Werner,
her hair is alive, man. It's a supporting cast member. Great day. All right. So I just thought that would be good. We'd just go ahead and catch up. So today is technically day 6 of the great New Orleans jailbreak. They've caught 5 men and 1 maintenance worker. They've suspended some people, but we don't know why they got suspended. I ain't trying to throw no shade, but we don't know why they got suspended. However, we'll continue. We'll stay engaged. What's Caustic say here? Rice Street is a jail. The Fed pen is on Boulevard, and McDonough Boulevard would be a prison. There is also a prison down in Jackson and Butts County. I knew about the Jackson and Butts. I knew that Rice Street was a jail, but they keep people there entirely too long, man. I didn't know about the one over on Boulevard. Okay. What makes a jail? What makes a prison? Maybe that's what I need to know. Is there a, what are the definitions of those things? Because that would be helpful. So, like, what is a jail? Jail, you're only going to be there for 3 months. Prison, you'd be there after sentencing, whatever like that. That would probably help out as well. Just to see, well, how does one get put into prison? How does one get put in jail? What's going on, Cases? Good morning to you, brother. Grace and peace to you. So I appreciate y'all. I just wanted to make sure I caught up with that, because hopefully by the end of the day, who knows, maybe there'll be some more updates. Maybe there'll be some more. Greg says jail is processing. But everybody who goes to jail, do they go to prison? Or do they? Not everybody who goes to jail goes to prison. But everybody who's in prison has been to jail, I think. That's my little assessment. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'll reach out to somebody who's been involved in the system and have them come on and teach us this stuff, break it down to us. But it is interesting nonetheless. Let me real quick. If you follow me on my other channel, my goals channel, I'll be talking about this. My book for the week is Thoughts for Young Men, even though I'm not a young man anymore. Still a great book by J.C. Ryle. I'll be done with this in a minute. So I'll be done with that. And I did get black fatigue. I have black fatigue. So I can technically say I have black fatigue now. See what I did there? Anyway, this is the book that I guess started all this shenanigans as it relates to the term black fatigue. And I actually have a playlist called Black Fatigue, Black Fatigue Friday on my channel. So, but I'm going to I'm going to read this and probably do like a quick review of each chapter. There's about 9 chapters in here. It's longer than I intended. I can't read it in a week. I don't know, man. If I put my head down, I could. She's got a lot of notes. Maybe I could. All right. I'm going to try my best, but I don't think I think I'll do better. Maybe just reading it and taking 2 weeks and just reading a couple chapters and do a review of it. So I'll do a review on my goals channel where I'm talking about how I'm going about securing and reaching 3 specific goals in my life and for my channel. So I'll do that over there. Black Fatigue will be part of that as well. So I'll give like a little update, a little summary on it, if you will. So maybe I'll do like 3 chapters and do a 3-chapter summary, something like that. So thank you so much. What's Miss Tish say real quick? Prison is the final housing after sentencing, and jail is short term while waiting for trial. Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. What if I get sentenced? You don't go to prison if you get sentenced for like less than a couple years, though, right? Or do you? I mean, it's very possible. I'm just asking now. I have no idea. I told y'all my understanding of the criminal justice system is to stay out of the criminal justice system. That's how I support it. Wholeheartedly. I support it with all my being by not being a part of it. I got to stay away from it. I'm allergic to it. By God's grace. Come on, Jesus. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking. I thought I saw breaking news. I was like, wait, we are not going to do breaking news right here.
Across the area search for the remaining 6 people who escaped from the Orleans Parish Jail Friday.
Authorities say the Orleans Justice Center.
Okay, no, I think we already saw this one. Okay. By the way, there is a YouTuber who I think either he's been in the criminal justice system or he's been a part of the justice system who does a show about prison. He has called After Prison Show. So I think he might have been in the actual system. But anyway, he does a review as well. I might check him out. Maybe we'll bring it. Maybe
he's involved in this, up to a $20,000 reward.
I might check him out because he seemed like a smart fellow. And I don't know what I literally just ran across him this morning. So I haven't had a chance to unpack it, but I'll bring it in when I can. The Fed pen in Georgia housed Al Capone for a bit of time and the Cuban criminals who came here in the 1980s. There was a huge riot there between the Cubans and other inmates back in the late 80s or so. My grandma and great grandma lived 2 and 3 doors down from it and across the street. Really? Yeah, that's interesting. So I'll learn more about. I don't want to learn more about prison, but it's just interesting. The story is very interesting. So we will do our best to get back onto it for sure. Let's see.
Full about this. We are rugged and raw live coming.
Okay, I'm checking out this guy. Let me subscribe to him. The dude got 1.3 million subscribers. He don't need me. Yeah, he's doing a pretty nice update as well. And it looks like let me find out his bio. Oh yeah, he has been locked up. Shout out to him. 7.5 years in prison for substances and weapons. Since his release in 2015, I've been trying to rebuild my life. Let me just real quick bring this in so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Shout out to him. Who knows? Maybe we'll check out his content. I'm trying to rebuild my life. I've been trying to rebuild my life in a world that isn't too friendly toward ex-cons. Come check out the crazy stuff that I make videos about in relation to an adjustment to freedom again after so long. Crazy prison stories, how-tos, prison tattoo videos, prison recipes, and even a few vlogs and interviews. Okay, shout out to him. Okay, I like it. So this is a After Prison Show. I might have to check him out. Maybe we'll, you know what? Does he have his email? Maybe we'll invite him on the show to answer our questions. Let me grab his email real quick. I'll do that. I'll do that because I think it might be interesting because I know I don't know. Now, you know, people like Q, she might know. She might know a little bit more than everybody else, but I know all the rappers aren't helping him out at all. I'm trying to tell you. Like there was one cat, one of the guys that got arrested that escaped. He escaped before and they caught him because he did an Instagram live. Let me see if I can find that. Marshall sent me that. I said, man, you cannot be, I don't think it was recent though. I mean, you cannot be that blessed ignorant. He did like an Instagram live and it was like lengthy. Like, do you want to get caught? Here it is right here. I'm bringing this in for y'all. Yeah, some of the I've said this before. Social media is not the friend of the hood, of the street dude. The street dudes, social media is not your friend. Oh, it is the guy they caught. Okay, never mind. Here it comes. Bring this in. Social media is not the friend of the street dude. If you're a street dude, get off of social media. It's not helping you. Tiff try to hire him. Look, we gonna all know what jails and prisons are about when Tiff gets invited to one of those. New Orleans inmate Kendall Myers, who escaped jail, arrested after doing a live on IG with the guys. No way. You are not. No way. I refuse to believe. Social media is a drug, y'all. It is a whole bona fide drug.
Man, nigga know I hit a bag on my boys. And I'm about to go with a 2. Get up with me. Alright. You fresh out, huh? Fresh out of jail. Stop playing.
A few moments later.
But that's the one they caught down by the hotel that's under the truck. Y'all, come on. Social media is not your friend if you're a street dude. Stop it. Just stop. Just stop. The social media is not your friend. Self-snitching is not your deal, man. Stop it. So that dude actually got caught because he was out on IG Live. Just let that sink in, man. Let that sink in. You done snuck out of jail and you go IG Live. I can't even wrap my mind around that. I just can't even do it. That is so dumb. Everyone, I'm a former educator, Miss Tish. Everyone needs an education, even I think that, look, I believe education, that's where I was saying before, we can hold the sheriff accountable and the city council, the mayor, the governor, but I think we should be looking at what are we doing to keep them out of the system in the first place? What is the community? These are the individuals. What are we doing to make sure that we keep kids out of jail before they never even have to go to jail? Like that, to me, that should be our push. That should be our effort to do our best to keep kids out of position where they end up in jail, because nothing good comes out of it. And we got all this other shenanigans happen because we let them get in the system. But what can we do to keep them out of the system? Sure, we can use all of the excuses. Prison, was that school to prison pipeline, this, that, and other. We can do all of that. We can do all of that till the cows come home. But what are we doing realistically to keep them out of the system? That's what I believe we should have that dialogue, that discussion. I know what I'm doing to help my children. I know what I'm doing to encourage those that I have interaction with to keep them out. I have a friend of mine whose son is college age. And matter of fact, fun fact, the vehicle that I'm having problems with, when I first got it, it had hubcaps, right? Hubcaps. What has hubcaps? What is this? Yeah, I ended up getting rims and tires for it. So I had these hubcaps that left over. A friend of mine's son had the same vehicle with the same tire size, at least. And I was like, hey, and he had the stock rims that look horrible, look like donuts, right? And I said, hey, I got these hubcaps. And he said, can I get them, Uncle Jason? Most certainly. So I brought them over to him. And I said, the son wasn't there. The car was in the driveway. My good friend was at the house. I said, hey, just open the garage up and pop the trunk so I can throw these in the car for him. Popped it, and he opened the garage up. I threw them in the trunk. I took a deep whiff in and called him and I said, nephew, this is unacceptable. This is not acceptable. This car smells like the wacky tobacco. Now, I don't know if you smoking it. I don't know if somebody else was smoking it. I don't know if you're carrying in the car, whatever. But if a police officer pulls you over, you're going to get removed out that car. There's no way around it. I said, that is ridiculous. And so what I told him to do, I said, get that car washed and detailed. I have an ozone machine. I said, I will loan you the ozone machine to eliminate the smell in that car. And don't you ever do that again. That's my contribution to keep him out of jail. Because I would hate to see my good friend have to go down to court because his son got pulled out the car because they got wacky tobacco in there. I don't know if they were smoking it. Again, it was horrible. But I took the responsibility to make sure that didn't happen again. And then, of course, I told his dad, like, bruh, your boy, man, he going to get pulled out the car. He going to get pulled out the car. So my point in that is I would like for us to have more conversations like that before they get caught in the system. What's Miss Tish say right here? All right, let's see. The new education system is not holds students accountable and passing them on without making sure they are prepared. No Child Left Behind was not good for no, you're 1,000% correct. No argument for me at all. I think no, but let's just be honest. A lot of the programs that schools implement, and these No Child Left Behind, New Math, Common Core, a lot of the time these are just experiments. They really don't know what they're doing. They really don't. If I had enough letters after my name and I wrote a book that said that children learn best if they wear a green hat on Wednesdays, do you know how many people would actually go with that and start rolling out the green hat initiative for Wednesdays for their students? And I could have made that up completely. I can get it peer reviewed. I can sound very astute and logical, and I could be full of complete hot air. Most of education is full of hot air. I'm just being honest with you. And I'm a former classroom teacher. I'm deeply entrenched in the education system at Whitaker Park. I can tell you right now, a lot of the stuff that they do is just they're trying it out. It's a 2-3 year experiment. Somebody got in and was able to push an idea, and now they're here. A lot of it's just experiments. And that goes, look, I'm going to say even for private school. My daughters went to private school for their elementary as well as middle school. A lot of that's experimenting too. They just experiment longer. And they whittle it down to what actually works or what has worked, but they still might try to finesse it and try to work it out and try to come up with something new. Because think about it. Education really isn't different, not substantially different from when our grandparents were in school. Now, I'm not talking about the little red schoolhouses. But for the most part, education really hasn't changed. What's being taught, the basic core tenets, reading, writing, and math. Those aren't changing. A still comes before B. C still follows B. I mean, those are still the same things. 1 + 1 is still 2. Nothing of that has changed. Now, sure, we can introduce new technologies. We can bring in new, but those things really, they support, they don't change. Chat GPT doesn't change the fact that CAT is cat. It just types it for you. That's all it does. So a lot of education. So with that being the case, there's not a lot of ways to innovate, especially in the world that we're in today. We like innovation. We like to change. My wife and I were joking about how the Yeti cup is going out of flavor. And what is it, Stanley now? And then there's other cups. We like innovation. We like to change things up. But sometimes things don't need to change. Because let's be honest, a cup is still a cup. Whether it's an old wooden gourd or a stone that you done hollowed out, it's still a cup though. The general format of a cup is still the same. We've just come up with new ways to make them better, if you will, or make them keep ice colder. There's no ice in here, but this coffee is good though. But at the end of the day, it's still a cup. So the problem is we want to keep innovating education. And in my opinion, we don't need to do that. What does Ms. Tish say right here? Invest back in the arts, writing, electrical, automotive, and trades, hands down. I will say this. We went to awards night at President Firstborn School. I was pleasantly surprised how many kids are going to trade schools. It wasn't like half or even 25%. There were quite a few kids that are going to trades. I said, shout out to y'all. Shout out to them. So, and I feel like it was a good number. But back to my point, I would love for that to be more of that. Yeah, I have no problem with any of those things, none whatsoever. Unfortunately, thing is that, the unfortunate thing is that not what being taught now, and they're questioning if 1 + 1 is 2 now. And that's that postmodern deconstruction. Is it really 2? Is that your truth? I mean, we can sit there, but that doesn't change the facts. There are facts and there are realities that exist. And though we've taught kids to question everything, albeit I think that's the wrong methodology, to question everything, because I guess the logical question is, why is 1 + 1 always going to be 2? Well, there's a reason because of that, because God has set the world in an orderly fashion that 1 + 1 is always going to be 2. But see, they're asking the wrong question. Is 1 + 1 2? Yeah, it is. How do you know? Because it is. And then they get into a chasing the tail argument, but really is, why is it always 2? The scientific method, why does it always work? Well, because there's an order to the world. There's an order to the universe that God has put in play, that we can know that if you drop something that weighs the same, every time you drop it, it's going to have the same effect all the time. So, all right, just a shout out there. Yeah, trades are definitely needed. I'm surprised more people are not encouraging trades, especially in this economy that we're in. I'm very surprised how many people are not saying, yeah, let's maybe we should have a second conversation about this this college thing above you going to become an electrician. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Now, I do want to talk about, since we are talking about like accountability, community accountability, in a roundabout way, I want to talk about this topic real quick, because I saw this today and I was like, this is absolutely, positively what's wrong with the world. All right. Background. Let me give you a little bit of background. One of the things I noticed is that we have tons of young men who may or may not have fathers, may not have father figures in their lives, that will do just about anything to get and capture attention on social media. And kind of goes along with what I said about the young blood that escaped prison and is on IG Live. Like, my guy, that's insane. Well, there's this cat out there in Phoenix, Arizona, a TikToker that got himself in a lot of trouble and has collected up a whole bunch of felonies because he was doing dumb stuff for social media clout. So let me bring this in and we can talk about it, and then we can get out of here if you'd like to. If I can figure out how to share screen. There we go. Really a wild story. And I feel bad for this guy, because I feel bad for him in the tongue-in-cheek kind of way, because he's not really old. He's only like 26, 27 years old. And this dude was walking around Walmart, filming himself, mind you, and he's done a whole bunch of other gross things, filming himself spraying bug spray on food, like bananas and rotisserie chickens and other things, spraying like bug spray on them for TikToks. And you'll see some other things that he's done. So the feel sorry for him element is going to go down pretty quick. So let's move myself out of the way. His name is Wolfie Coletti. He pleads guilty to 3 felonies. And these are not small things. These are pretty egregious. Check this out.
Do you guys remember this useless TikToker? Went by Wolfie Coletti, and he was arrested a few months ago for spraying pesticide on food in a supermarket. Well, it turns out that he just pled guilty to 3 felonies and will be spending a significant amount of time behind bars. Today, we'll take a look at this new development, try to figure out exactly how many years he's facing. But first, let's take a look at how this all started. So I just came across Wolfie Coletti 8 months ago, and he was actually featured in the very first video on this channel. And in that video, he was doing the extremely hilarious prank of almost killing fast food workers by putting ice in a deep fryer.
Los tacos and the egg roll. Hey.
Now, if that's not bad enough, sometimes he would actually use a mannequin instead of ice. And I can't even imagine the smell that must have came out of that reaction. Absolutely disgusting. And sometimes he would just create panic by pulling the fire alarm, and he would do that for no other reason than clout and money.
There's a fire in your bathroom.
Oh yeah, you can go.
There's a fire in your bathroom.
Wait, there's a fire in the bathroom?
Yeah.
So my question is, how in the world did we allow young, able-bodied men to think that this is the only way that you can be valuable in society, is being a nuisance and creating havoc? To the point that, bruh, if you look this dude up, man, this dude was doing some of the craziest stuff. Like, he would literally like just walk back into a restaurant and dump a whole bunch of ice. And I know you probably know what happens when you put water and frozen water and boiling hot oil together. Man, just total chaos. Or dumping random stuff into the deep fryers. It was craziness. And he thinks that you're going to see some other crimes that he committed. I'm like, dude, how in the world? The point was just to do it. He's going to talk about in a second how much money he was making off of TikTok doing this. And look, I'm doing YouTube. I'm not doing it as an altruistic activity by any means or measure. I totally get that part. But I'm trying not to like be a nuisance. Now, I hope I'm not a nuisance. Now, some people might think I'm a nuisance, but I'm trying not to do things deliberately that are nuisatizing, which is not a word, nuisatizing people. But you'll see in a second. Watch this.
That's the definition of brain rot right there. Now, he was getting away with this. Of course, people were reporting him on TikTok, and the police were aware, and it would have been very easy to catch him. Keep in mind that all you would have to do is subpoena TikTok, and they would fork over his information. Now, none of that happened. He did not get arrested. Matter of fact, that just emboldened him. All the attention, all the money he was making, he just wanted more, and that's what led him to do the pesticide prank.
Charles Smith is facing charges related to poisoning, endangerment, and criminal damage for this. Mesa police say Smith recorded himself.
Hold on. Look at what this guy is getting. These are some major charges, my guys and gals. This is a menace to society type of stuff, man. Why are you doing this? Go do something beneficial with your life, my guy. Because Walmart threw the whole book at him. When you hear how much damage, quote unquote, he committed, you know Walmart said, look, we about to throw a whole book at you. When you see how much damage, it's crazy. It is crazy how much damage they said he caused with this. Let's go.
Related to poisoning, endangerment, and criminal damage for this. Mesa police say Smith recorded himself spraying bug killer all over fruit, vegetables, and rotisserie chickens at this Mesa Walmart, causing nearly $1,000 worth of damage. and putting shoppers at risk.
Okay, so they say $1,000. Wait until you see when they could. I guess I ain't mad at. Look, I would have did the same thing. If my name was Jason, or if my name was Walmart, I would have did the same thing. Watch how much they charge. They say that he probably caused. It's crazy. All right, let's go.
According to court documents, Smith is accused of doing other stunts that put people in danger, leading to an arrest warrant for him out of Tempe and charges of criminal nuisance and disorderly conduct in Scottsdale, all for clicks on his social media pages, police say, where he had more than 300,000 followers. Before it was taken down, his TikTok account had several other videos of what appears to be him committing crimes, like locking people inside a Goodwill, throwing food at people at the mall, and even throwing a dead bird at fast food workers.
So unfortunately, Wolfie Coletti did start a trend there of attempting to murder people by throwing objects from above in malls, and some teenagers did that in the UK.
Go, yalla. There's no way this guy's getting it.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Luckily, these pieces of crap were arrested very quickly and hit with serious charges, but because they're minors, they might not spend that much time in jail if they even do a single day. Now, Wolfie Coletti was having a disgusting impact on society, so the cops made sure to hit him with as many charges as possible. So while he was still in jail, he just got hit with a batch of new charges.
you have a name and date of birth? Charles Smith.
In an MCSO orange jumpsuit, Charles Smith, who goes by Wolfie Coletti on social media, was in court for the second time in just a few days. Already arrested in Mesa over the weekend, the 27-year-old told officers he's a self-proclaimed troll and that he makes up to $10,000 a month posting those videos on social media.
$10,000 a month. $10,000 a month being a troll. Just being a nuisance. Now, I ain't mad at you making $10,000 a month. Your boy trying to make $10,000 a month. But I'm trying not to be a troll, trying not to be a nuisance. I don't know. Some of y'all might think I'm a nuisance. I don't know. Well, get out of here. Hit the like button if you think I'm a nuisance. Or hit it 3 times if you don't think I'm a nuisance. But wait till you hear how much Walmart hit him with, though. Walmart hit him with the boom bam. Watch this.
The court paperwork for the latest arrest is sealed, but as part of his release conditions, the judge told Smith he is not allowed to be on any social media.
Now that brings us to today's update. He decided to take a plea deal. So the news article didn't have much information on the charges, so I decided to reach out to my good friend Andre Sloan, who is a retired police officer, and he was able to give me all the relevant information. So shout out to Andre Sloan. The link to his channel is in the description. So his first charge was burglary 3rd degree, which is a felony. He pled guilty to a reduced charge, and the court's document doesn't say what that charge is. Sentencing is June 24th, 2025. For the second case, it was criminal damage defacing, which is a felony, and he pled guilty as charged. Sentencing is the same date. For the third case, he was charged with adding harmful substance taken by human, felony. There were 4 charges. 3 of them were dismissed by grand jury, and 1 he pled guilty to as part of the agreement. The second charge was burglary, 3rd degree unlawful entry. It was a felony, dismissed in plea agreement. The third charge was endangerment, 2 counts. It was a misdemeanor. 1 got dismissed by the grand jury and 1 got dismissed in a plea deal. As for the 4th charge, it was criminal damage defacing, a misdemeanor. There were 2 counts and 1 got dismissed by the grand jury and 1 got dismissed in a plea deal. The sentencing is the same date of June 24th, 2025. Now, before we take a look at the sentencing guidelines for these felonies, I want to ask you guys a favor. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the show. I started this channel 8 months ago. We're already at 70,000 subscribers, and it would be pretty damn awesome if we could reach 100,000 subscribers before the channel is even a year old. And I know it's possible, but let's get back to the sentencing. So the first crime he pled guilty to is 3rd degree burglary, which is a class 4 felony. A first-time offender can face a prison sentence of 1 to 3.75 years. The maximum penalty is 3.75 years, and the minimum is 1 year. However, for repeat offenders or if aggravating factors are present, the sentence can be extended up to 15 years and potentially even higher. So it is important to note that there is a minimum sentence of 1 year just for this crime. So the second crime he pled guilty to was defacing or damaging property. That can include graffiti, and it can be charged as a felony or misdemeanor depending on the value of the damage. So penalties for a class 4 felony, which is the damage over $10,000, include a fine of up to $150,000 and up to 3.75 years.
Walmart said he did $10,000 worth of damage. I have no idea because they just said it was $931. They done 10x that joint on him so he can get a class 4 felony. I have no idea. Maybe I'm sure that that's reasonable. They probably had to get rid of everything in the store. I mean, everything in the grocery section. So it probably was $10,000 worth of damage. I mean, but initially they said it was $931, which is basically $1,000 you rounded up. But they ended up 10x in that joint to make sure you knew, because it should have been a class 6 if it was just $1,000. They said, no, we're gonna boom bap boom ba bum boom on you. That's craziness. $10,000 worth of damage. Spraying some doggone raid on stuff. Ignorant.
In prison and 4 years of probation. Now, because it was charged as a felony, I would assume the damage is at least $10,000. Now, the final crime he pled guilty to was to adding the poison or harmful substance to food, drink, or medicine, and that is classified as a class 6 felony. Now, the class 6 felonies penalties can vary quite a bit. It could be probation or prison time, but I personally think he's going to get prison for this because it says right here that a dangerous class 6 felonies, there are no option for probations, and prison time is mandatory, typically ranging from 1.5 to 3 years. Now, keep in mind, the poison stunt was extremely dangerous and could have got a lot of people seriously ill or even worse. Now, he claims that he went back into the store 10 minutes later and attempted to remove all the items that he sprayed, put it in a shopping cart, and push that shopping cart in the back of the store. First of all, we don't know if that actually happened. And second of all, even if it did, 10 minutes is plenty of time for a bunch of shoppers to buy those poisoned items. So yeah, very, very stupid stunt to do. This guy is so desperate for attention. Overall, he's facing up to 9 or 10 years. I don't know if he'll get that much, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to walk away from this without actual prison time. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Crazy. And don't forget to subscribe. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
All right. I thought that was just interesting to see how people making bad decisions like that. And again, to the point that I was making, point that I was making before, why is the community not holding these young men accountable on the outside? Because that dude, 27 years old, and I saw his arraignment. He lived with his dogs and stuff like that. Where are his parents? Why are your parents allowing you to behave like this? Be out here being a complete and total nuisance, injuring people, ruining people's businesses, all that kind of stuff like that. I think he should have got hit with more charges, in my opinion. But what do y'all think? Let me know. Try not to start another video in the background, but I think it did. There we go. All right. Good, people. And, thank y'all for bringing this up. Somebody else mentioned Johnny as well. Oh, somebody else did right here. Caustic mentioned it. He's copying the nuisance streamer Johnny Somali, who may be spending the rest of his life in prison in Korea. Johnny Somali and Vitali are both experiencing legal consequences of the nuisance streaming in Korea and the Philippines. Thank y'all, both of y'all. Do y'all want to watch those? I do. I've been keeping up with those stories. I'm pretty aware of it. Like, matter of fact, we had Legal Mindset on the channel actually a couple months ago. Legal Mindset, who is the attorney in South Korea, that has been reporting on that story. If you all are interested in, I might put up a community post and we can go over it because there is some interesting stuff about them. There's a lot of language though. Good gracious, man. I'm going to have to do that. Turn it into like a members only type of joint. But that's beside the point. But Anyway, let me know if y'all are interested in that for real. And we can look at some of those nuisance streamers because they're going to get judged. Now, I think it's interesting that they're getting stronger treatment or harsher treatment over there in the Philippines and in Korea than they get here. I think we should be much more strict about just nuisance. But I understand freedom of expression. I understand freedom of speech. But I think we should be a little bit more strict about some of the nuisance things that we do. Because some of the things that like Johnny Somali's getting hit with would never happen here in the United States. But they're very strict about those things over in Korea. They're very strict about those things in the Philippines. See Vitali. Like when Vitali tried to take a police officer's moped, the only reason he didn't get hit with the maximum of like stealing a police vehicle is because it wasn't turned on. He was just trying to he didn't know how to start it. If he had known how to start that moped and try to ride it and ride around, he would have absolutely been hit with he had been hit with a ton of bricks. The only saving grace that he didn't know how to turn it on. Oh, thank you, Band Shirt. Project Band Shirt. I appreciate you. But yeah, today I just thought it would be interesting that we were going to look at the most recent capturing of one of the inmates that did the unsupervised exit from the Orleans prison, penitentiary, lockdown, what other little terms we can come up with. But we looked at that. And then I wanted to just look at this. I thought this was a very interesting story because I don't hear anybody saying that the citizenry needs to be the first line, just like parents. Parents are the first teachers. I would always tell my parents when we did parent-teacher nights or meet your teacher, I always tell them, I'm the second teacher. And they would look around like, what are you talking about? Well, who's the first teacher? You are the first teacher. You are mom and dad. You are grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousins, siblings. You are the first. Hold on one second. Wow. Whew, that was a major sneeze. Okay, but we are the first teachers. So the same thing, parents are the first police officers. Parents are the first judges, the first attorneys, the first corrections officers. We're the first ones. If we do the right thing, now that doesn't guarantee, because you look at this guy here, he might have been raised in a good home and he's just a complete and utter clown. Somebody said that he's got some that he's exhibiting some mental deficiencies. That's very possible. Shout out to Amethyst Angel. Thank you so much. But we as parents, and I like hearing this stuff about, the judicial system and talking about the New Orleans jailbreaks and all that kind of stuff like that. However, what about the parents? What are we telling the community? Like mom and dad. The only reason I exist is because you ain't doing your job. No, I'm not saying that's true, but you get my point. Like, why are we not encouraging and admonishing parents and cousins and families to self-regulate, to self-police themselves, rather than just wait for me to say it as the arm of justice? Okay, and if we want to get scriptural about it, the Bible does teach that parents are the first ones to discipline their children. Because once it gets to the judicial system or the arm of the government disciplining them, it's a wrap. So the school to prison pipeline that people talk about, the problem is you're starting with school. Hold on now. Hold on. The problem is you're starting with school. You should be starting at home. The home to school pipeline should be robust. It should be very, very inviting. There should be a two-way street between home and school. From school to prison shouldn't even exist. Why are you building the pipeline? See, that's the problem. See, they're not police officers are like, for example, And I don't know how we went down this street, y'all, but y'all are welcome to tell me, Jason, you went off the rails. If a police officer sees somebody swerving down the road, hitting garbage cans and going off to the ditch, and they pull them over, right? When they bring that person and they open the door up and the person smells, reeks of, Colt 45, right? They got bottles all over the car. They got some wacky tobacco in the ashtray. They got a dispenser in their wrist, in that vein. The police officer will put them through what a lot of people know as field sobriety tests, right? Where they say, hey, can you touch your nose? You see this light, balance on one foot, say ABCs backwards, all that kind of stuff like that. Let me ask you a question. Are they asking, and please jump into the chat. Please, I need an answer here. When the police officer gives those field sobriety tests, are they doing the test to let you get back in the car to go home? Or are they doing the test to take you on downtown? Serious question. Are they doing the test for you to get back in your car to go home? Or are they doing the test, now they got you out of the car, they can more easily put you in the back of their car and take you down to wherever the jail or prison or lockdown is? What do y'all think? Put a car in the chat if you think they want to put you back in your car. Put a police officer in the chat if you think they want to take you to jail. But what is it? Why do they do that? How are you doing? Good to see you, friend. Thank you, Tish. What's going on, Walsh? Good to see you, brother. Grace and peace to you, friend. I think it depends on the officer, in my honest opinion. Okay, that's fair, Walsh. I too thought that as well. That's perfectly fine. Anybody else want to jump in? Do you think the officer is giving field sobriety tests to let you get back into your car? Put car in the chat if you think they're going to let you get back into your car. Or do you think they do the field sobriety test because now it's easier for you to be arrested and get put in their car and go to jail? Put a police officer in the chat. Let me and never have I either, Caustic. But just in your assessment, do you think the police officer is going to let you get back in your car? You're always going to be able to make your one phone call, no question there. But when you get out of the car and the officer says, hey, I see, I think there's some impairment. I'd like you to come back out here and do some tests. Why do you think they have you do that? Great question. I never thought. Asked. Okay, so I just dropped a link in the chat, and this content creator is called the Fit Lawyer ATL, and she does a series called she uses the expletive, shut up and take the ride. If a police officer gets you out of the car, they are never going to let you get back in the car. You are going to jail. It doesn't matter. If they have reason to believe, that you are impaired and they get you out of the car, you're not getting back in your car tonight. That's it. Field sobriety tests are actually collecting evidence. They are able to see your eye movement. They're able to hear your slurred speech. You're not able to balance. All that stuff is for them. It is not for you. So that's why you'll never hear, and I admit I watch a lot of body cam footage. They never say that you pass a test. You know why? Because it's not a test. It's just collecting of evidence. And that evidence will come back and bite you in the hind parts when you go to jail. So the Fit Lawyer, shout out to Fit Lawyer ATL, an excellent content creator. She came to my birthday party a couple weeks ago, and we did a video looking at body cam footage. She and the lead attorney, excellent content creator. I definitely would give you want to, check out somebody doing some fun stuff in this area. I submit to you the Fit Lawyer ATL. But she says all you got to do, because once you get out of the car, you're not going to get back in the car. That's a wrap. If they suspect that you are impaired, whether it be from alcohol or some other substance, there's no other reason. Once you're at the car, it's a wrap. Once they ask you to get out of the car, it's over. You getting out the car. You're going to jail. Now, the thing is, all you have to do is license and registration. I'm not going to do any field sobriety. Let it go. Go on, take the ride. Just take the ride. Take the ride. They're going to impound your car, put your car in car jail. You're going to go downtown. They're going to give you the breathalyzer. You're going to blow 000, or you're going to blow some percentage or whatever like that, and it'll go from there. But if you do the field sobriety test, guess what? They have all this evidence. You talking, you not following instructions. Matter of fact, one of them is only meant for you to not be able to follow the instructions. That where you take 9 steps and then turn around and take 9 steps back. It's not the test, it's your ability to understand these complex directions. So my point in saying all of this is where are the parents that are teaching their children? I tell my kids all the time, like, we don't go to jail. We don't go to jail. So your job, your duty, your responsibility is stay your happy butt out of jail. And my wife has a sister. When she came to live with us here in Georgia, she got herself in trouble and she went to jail. When she called us, she was crying. She was sobbing and weeping. She was wailing and gnashing her teeth. Not because they had abused her, not because she was being mistreated in jail. She's like, I know I'm going to call you and I already know what you're going to say, Uncle Jason. We don't go to jail. I said, baby, you already knew this. We don't go to jail. And we didn't go. She had to figure that thing out, but we did not go to jail. So, but my point is back to the school to prison pipeline and this influencer that was out here wilding out. Where are the parents, the community, that they being held accountable? Because I do think we should hold, police officers and judges and all that people, we should hold them to be account as well. But what about the parents? And teach your kids, like, y'all better not, just like I told my nephew, my guy, this car smells horrible. The police officer's going to pull you out this car. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That needs to change. Now, I don't know what you're doing, but what you're doing don't need to happen in this car. So back to my point, we have got to hold ourselves accountable as a community, as people, as the adults in the room, and say, hey, we don't allow you to behave like this, because I don't want you to be a part of the school to prison pipeline. That's dumb. And shout out to Walsh. Let's see right here. Well, Walsh, I mean, there's that as well. There's that as well. But even in that, like, if for some reason or another, let's say you got really bad breath, okay, or you took an Altoid and it got the car and the officer smells the Altoid, and the officer, or you just had some Listerine for whatever reason, you're just chugging Listerine while you're driving, and the officer gets you out the car, just go ahead and take the ride. Just go ahead and go to jail. There's no reason to argue. There's no reason to fight. Just go ahead. Even though I know I'm sober, when I get down there, I'm going to blow the breathalyzer. It's going to be 000. If you do a blood test, it's going to be 000, whatever it is. And I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to do no tests. I'm not going to be out here trying to pay attention to what did you say? I'm not doing any of that. That's fine. I'm just going to take a scenic route home. I'm going to jail. That's fine. I know it sounds crazy, but I do not look good in orange. Because there are people who literally have talk themselves. And again, I submit to you the Fit Lawyer ATL, great content creator, beautiful content creator here in Atlanta. Tell her Dear World Christian sent you. I've heard people talk themselves into jail, and they themselves were not going to jail, but they've talked themselves into it. Don't say anything else. Just enjoy the ride. What's the name of the series? Hold on. It's called like Shut Up and Take the Ride or something like that. There it is right there. Shut up and take the ride. And there it is right there. Just take it. Just be quiet. Oh, there it is. I thought it was like a playlist, but it's not. They're right there. Shut up and take the ride. Just take it. Just go on. Just go to jail. You're gonna be out. Just take the ride. Get your car out. You just be an inconvenience. We'll figure it out. But don't talk yourself into jail. Shout out to her. I agree with her. Uh-oh. I hope they didn't remove her page. What happened? Oh. Anyway. But I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if we, as the people, I'm not even saying support staff. We are the coaches. We are the police. We are the judges. We are the teachers. We, as parents and the community, we're the first line of defense to teach our kids and to hold our communities responsible. Why are we not also being, when we look at the New Orleans jailbreak, why are they not saying, parents, keep your kids out of jail? Yeah, we got this jail and the doors are janky. Yeah, we got this jail and people crawling through the walls. Okay, yeah. But why don't you keep your kids up out of here? That's another way. That's another solution. Keep your kids up out of here and we can do whatever we need to do for the kids that still gonna go to jail. They're gonna still be kids that do bad. I'm not saying that just because you do your best and you crank down on your kid, that guarantees that they're gonna be right and upstanding. That's God's movement in their lives. And it is what it is. But I can at least say emphatically, I did my very best. That's all we can do as parents, as the first teachers, as the first judge, as the first police officer, as the first coach. The best we can do is say, I did my best. That's it. Oh, Wall said I got DUI back in 2018, almost 20 years ago. Shout out, brother. Boy, did God sit me down. He said the gospel message, gospel news is alive and well in county jail for sure. A lot of men cry out to God in there. I agree. Hey, Mr. Wombat, the best we can do is try to hold ourselves and our families accountable. That's the best we can do, because sadly, I mean, there definitely is an epidemic of unaccountability for sure. But where did it come from, though? Where did the unaccountability of society come from? From parents not holding their kids accountable. And we've seen what happened. We done unleashed an unholy horde of unaccountable children in adult bodies onto society. We've got to change that. The best we can do is deal with our own little unholy horde in our homes, or unholy horde in our communities or churches. That's the best we can do, is hold them accountable there before they get out there and wreak havoc on society. That dude that we were looking at, the guy that the nuisance streamer, tell me that dude has been held accountable. Well, he's being held accountable now for sure. But had he been held accountable before? What do you think? Absolutely not. Absolutely unequivocally not. And therein is the rub. So that was the whole point of that. I definitely went in a direction I was not intending, but shout out. I appreciate y'all for sure jumping into the best live chat. Orange is not our color. There we go. I agree. Orange is not. I do not look good at orange. I don't look good at orange at all. And you don't look good at orange, baby. I hear Chief Executive Second Born in the kitchen. We are effectively on summer break now. I don't know why, but President Firstborn had a test today. She has a test today, and she graduates tomorrow. Like, what are we doing? I don't know why. I think she's gone. I think she went because her friends, they all are going to like meet up, I guess. I don't know. These kids are crazy. She's like, it really didn't have to go, but I think because her little posse was going, I think they're all going to go get coffee or something to lunch afterwards. I told her, come home, we could all go together. I'll go with them. But I think because I didn't say I was going to treat, I think that's why they said they weren't coming over. Like, Mr. Whitaker ain't treating, so we'll see what happens. If we have a horde of 16, 17-year-olds, well, I guess there's 17, 18-year-olds pop up at my house in the next 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'll know what happened, why that happened. But shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for popping in with me. I really appreciate it, man. I'm looking through just make sure I'm not missing anything, checking the traps. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we got a good day today. I got some fun stuff going on, and I need to get it popping. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me know if y'all do want me to talk about these nuisance streamers, like Johnny Somali and the Vitali dude and the such like that. Let me know in the comments down below, or shoot me an email. I'd love to talk about it. If anybody's arrested tonight, we will probably come back. I'll probably do it anyway. I like rapping with y'all. We'll do a recap tonight on whether or not New Orleans caught the nuisance, the inmates, the nuisance streamers. They should be in jail too. But if New Orleans caught the inmates, we'll do another recap tonight. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully it'll get over with soon, because I don't think that's good for the people of New Orleans. I think Marshall the Plug lives in New Orleans. So, we don't do that to have these people out on this unsupervised inmate releases. So shout out to that. Thank y'all so much for your support. I appreciate y'all. Go check out the Fit Lawyer ATL. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you so much for tapping in on the live stream, being a part of the best live chat on the internet. I hope that you all find value in this. So let me know down in the comments if you do like this stuff. Let me know if there's other content that you would like me to consider. Let me also drop my email. If you run across an article or something pertaining to this, you can always shoot me an email, dearwokec@gmail.com. And I always appreciate that. I really do appreciate when the community sends me things, when the community finds articles and such like that to consider. They're very helpful. And hey, I like to give you guys some shine. So anyway, thank you all so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for liking the video and finding value in it. If you don't mind, tip your waiter on the way out. How do you tip your waiter? Just drop a green heart in the chat and let us know that you appreciate the content that we're doing here. And always make sure you hit the like button. Thank you for subscribing and helping us hit our goal of 50,000 subscribers. And we're going to make it soon enough. So until then, everybody, grace and peace. Take care.